our second limited 6-star character Gilberta is here and she is amazing. Hello everyone, this is 12th Harbinger and welcome to my channel. Gilberta currently is the best character for AoE with many other utilities. This video will help you get the most value out of her by letting you know how to build her with best gears, weapons, how to use her, best teammates, her pros and cons and many more. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Starting with her kit. Gilberta's kit is filled with multiple crowd controls. Her battle skill is one of the main parts of her kit. It pulls the enemies providing crowd control and dealing some damage, and after that, it does an explosion which applies nature infliction on enemies. Her combo skill is triggered when any arts reaction is applied on enemy. Arts reaction includes reactions like combustion, solidification, corrosion, crush, etc. The combo skill pulls the enemies dealing some damage and applies lift on them. Lift applies a stack of vulnerability on enemies. Her ultimate creates a gravity field for 5 seconds which deals a huge 1 instance of damage and applies nature infliction. The targets in that field are slowed down by 80% and suffer from 30% art susceptibility. The susceptibility debuff is further increased by 3% based on the number of vulnerability stacks on enemies. And if an enemy is in lifted state, then the lifted status will persist until the field expires. The duration of this is very short, so you have to use the ultimate only during the highest damage dealing skills of your main DPS. Her first combat talent gives all the guards, casters and supporters in the team 7% ultimate gain efficiency while in battle, which is really nice. The second combat talent allows her to heal the controlled character based on her intellect when her battle or combo skill hits at least 2 enemies. If the controlled character is at max HP, the healing goes to the character with lowest HP. For her talent priority, max out the ultimate first for increasing the buff and damage, then you can level her combo skill, battle skill and basic attacks. Moving on to her weapons. Gilberta has quite a lot of supportive weapon options. Best one for most situations is a signature weapon. It provides will and ultimate gain efficiency, which is good. From its passive, after applying the lifted status with combo skill, it gives 19.2% arts damage dealt for 15 seconds. And this bonus increases by 5.6% up to an additional 16.8% for every enemy that is lifted. Her signature weapon is very consistent across most of her teams thanks to the raw stats and great passive. The next weapon that has a similar passive is a signature weapon from the BP, Opus H figure. It gives will and nature damage bonus. The trigger condition for this weapon is applying nature infliction with her battle skill to give 8% art damage bonus to the team for 15 seconds. And for every enemy that has nature infliction applied, she gives another 3.2% up to an additional buff of 9.6%. It has a lot of offensive stats, but the passive can be inconsistent as it needs you to use her battle skill. In some teams where her battle skill is not consistently used, you will have issues maintaining the buff uptime. Unless you regularly buy BP, I won't recommend getting this. Her next option is the stanza of memorials, giving a huge 22.4% attack at max potential. The stats of this weapon is not as great as a signature, but the passive is decent, providing attack on casting the ultimate. An attack person is usually a better buff for most characters. Detonation unit is another option. It has a very powerful passive which inflicts debuff on enemies and make them take 14.4% more arts damage, which is a more valuable buff, but the activation requirement is quite challenging as it needs the wielder to do an arts burst reaction. If you don't know, Arts Burst is a reaction that occurs when 2 of the same infliction stacks on enemies. So to activate it, you need to trigger Nature Burst with Gilberta, but it is not possible in most of the teams. There's one more weapon worth considering, that is OBJ Arts Identifier. This weapon gives heat and electro damage bonus to the team on triggering Arts Burst or by applying a physical status which Gilberta can with her combo skill. It is a weapon that is viable in heat or electric teams and provides similar buffs to her signature. Moving on to her gear sets. For Gilberta, the gear set to use is the Eternal Ziranite. This set has the best gear pieces for her with the best stats, and it also gives a team-wide buff of 16% damage bonus which she can trigger with her ultimate. It might have uptime issues as Gilberta has no consistent method of keeping its uptime, so you can bring a second character that can use this set if possible. For the gear pieces, use the Eternal Ziranite auxiliary arm on both the kit slots, Eternal Ziranite gloves T1, and for the armor you can use the Eternal Ziranite armor to increase the arts reaction damage you deal with Gilberta like corrosion, shatter, etc, which she will be doing in most of her current teams. It also provides will and intellect, which is good for her. For teams where you are not using her nature infliction to trigger the reaction, you can use the Link's Cuirass for more healing. Tidefall armor is also an option. It has a dead stat but gives ultimate gain efficiency if you want to build around it. Moving on to our team comps. Gilberta is the best character for crowd control. She can provide it through all of her skills and also give a massive susceptibility boost. However, she applies nature infliction which blocks her synergy with many characters as of now. But there are some characters that you can use with Gilberta. First one is Yvonne. Gilberta is one of Yvonne's best choices. She can align her huge ultimate buff with Yvonne's ultimate to boost her massively. Yvonne's teams trigger solidification which makes it easy to trigger Gilberta's combo skill. And the combo skill as it applies lift can trigger shatter on solidified enemies. A nature infliction can work as a great tool for Yvonne's battle skill as Yvonne can consume them. She can also synergize with Laevatain. Gilberta is a great option you can use in place of Ardelia. She isn't necessarily better against single target, but her selling point is her crowd control, which makes her better in such situations. Instead of directly applying corrosion like Ardelia, she applies nature infliction. So you will have to change your rotation a bit to use the nature infliction for triggering corrosion, which triggers Levi's combo skill. I wouldn't recommend her over Ardelia in single target as melting flame stack generation could get difficult. Make sure to use this team only in this order for the correct combo skill order. Here you start with Antler's battle skill into Wolfie's battle skill, then Gilberta's battle skill into Wolfguard's combo. It is important to wait for around a second to allow Wolfguard to complete his combo skill and apply heat infliction, and then trigger Antler's combo, or Antler might copy the wrong infliction on enemies. Then Gilberta's combo and Levi's combo. This should be enough to get 4 melting stacks against multiple enemies. This is a general rotation order. I wouldn't recommend running both Gilberta and Ardelia in the same team as the lift shatters from Gilberta's combo skill can make it difficult to trigger Ardelia's combo skill. And the last character that can play with Gilberta without worrying about the nature infliction is Avywenna. I'm sorry if I am saying her name wrong. Gilberta can slot into her team as Perlika, which is one of Avywenna's best teammate, can apply electrification using her combo skill and trigger Gilberta's combo skill. You can skip using Gilberta's battle skill to allow the teammates to stack electric infliction on enemies. And when all the preparations are done, when Avywenna deploys all her spears, you can use Gilberta's ultimate to consume the electric inflictions and apply corrosion which will reduce the resistance and give a huge susceptibility buff to the team, massively boosting the spear damage of Avywenna. She can work in both single target as well as multi-target. There's no specific rotation for Gilberta that can be used consistently across every team. Her gameplay changes based on the team you are using her in. But the general idea is to always use her ultimate during the highest damage window of your team, as it has very short duration but has very powerful buffs. Gilberta gathers enemies through her battle skill and combo skill. In teams where you need her nature infliction, use her battle skill for gathering the enemies and trigger reactions. But in some cases, the nature infliction can mess up the team's inflictions, so you can completely skip her battle skill. As for combo skill, it is an important part of her kit as it applies lift, which increases the susceptibility debuff from her ultimate. Some weapons like her signature needs it to trigger her buff, and it also gives ultimate energy. So you have to make sure your team can trigger the arts reaction for her combo skill. Moving on to her potentials. Gilberta's potential are honestly not that impressive. Let's take a look at them. The first potential increases the radius of her battle skill by 20%, which can be nice for grouping but is not really needed, and in some teams where battle skills are not used, it becomes wasted. The second potential improves her ultimate effect, helping her get higher susceptibility debuff from the vulnerability stacks, but the increase is not that big. Third potential increases her ultimate gain efficiency buff to guards, supports and casters from her combat talent by 5%. The fourth one reduces her ultimate cost, which can be nice as her ultimate is needed for major buffs. And the fifth potential reduces her combo skill cooldown by 2 seconds and increases its damage multiplier by 30%. It allows her to use combo skill more often, providing more energy and vulnerability stacks, but it is not big enough to spend so much to get this potential. Finally, I would like to make a short and quick comparison with the free alternative Ardelia. Gilberta or Ardelia both are not necessarily better or worse than each other, both have their pros and cons. The amount of buff Gilberta provides is higher than Ardelia. On average, Gilberta can provide up to 33% susceptibility debuff, however the difference in the uptime is huge. Gilberta's buff only lasts for 5 seconds, which you cannot keep refreshing as it is locked behind her ultimate. As for Ardelia, her buff lasts for 30 seconds, which is massive. And if you have a P1, she can increase her susceptibility buff to 28%. But Ardelia's buff is only single target. At most, she can apply it on 2 enemies with the help of her combat talent. Whereas Gilberta applies it in a large AoE and she also provides crowd control. So in general, Gilberta is better in AoE situations, whereas Ardelia is better in single target or dual target scenarios, with a better and longer buff uptime. One more thing to note is that Gilberta provides only art susceptibility, while Ardelia provides both arts and physical susceptibility. So Gilberta cannot buff the physical teams, but can fit in there just for the crowd control or the vulnerability stack. However, there is more to this. Gilberta also applies nature infliction, which Ardelia doesn't. This can be a plus point for Gilberta, but also a cons of her. Her nature inflictions as of now blocks the synergy with many characters, as it kind of ruins their infliction stacks. Like with Last Rite, who needs 3 cryo infliction stacks to trigger the combo skill, so the nature infliction will ruin her rotations. But her nature infliction can be used by some DPS characters like Yvonne, whereas for Ardelia, you can comfortably fit her in any team without worrying about reactions. Ardelia also has better sustain overall, as Gilberta needs at least 2 targets for her heals. I will recommend using Ardelia in single target situations and Gilberta in AoE situations. If you don't need the nature infliction, you can skip using her battle skill and rely on the combo skill for crowd control. But it needs arts reaction to trigger, which many teams cannot comfortably do. So as of now, there are only few characters that can make use of Gilberta, and she is only better than Ardelia in these teams in AoE scenarios. You can decide to pull her if you use any of these teams and want to have better time clearing AoE contents. Most of the farming challenges have group of enemies, so Gilberta can make your farming easier. But she's not a must pull. So overall, Gilberta is a great unit. She is currently the best AoE character while providing strong buffs and high stagger damage. She can apply nature infliction, which is unique. Sadly, many teams don't need it now, but in future it might be needed for a nature team. She does have quite a lot of drawbacks and competes with a free character. You can check out the Ardelia vs Gilberta section for more details on this. And that was all for this video. Let me know in the comments which guide you want to see next. Make sure to check out the playlist here for guides and characters. Join my Discord server to hang out with the community and for occasional giveaways. Subscribe to my channel for more Arknights Endfield videos. Thanks for watching.